Hello, my name's Stephen Carr and I'd like to welcome you to another SketchUp cooking class. In this cooking class what we're going to do is we're going to look at various styles and we're going to be looking at scenes and we're going to be creating an animation from it. So at this point we've created our file, we've got the terrain model, we've added the 3D house, we've got the gazebo, we've added some landscape to it, and we've set it up however we set it up, which is fine. So what we need to do is we're going to create, the idea is to create an animation, and when we create this animation should be like a story. So we're going to start it off by turning off, say, my terrain model. I'm going to turn off the gazebo and the landscape. So I just have the 3D house. This is our basic setup. This is the concept of what we are working with. So I'm just going to set this up and maybe just check out some different styles here. So I'll just open up my styles, and if I do, there's lots of different styles that you can experiment with, but I've just picked this one here so you can go around and you can pick some styles that you like as well. So once I have this style set up, I'm just going to go into my view and animation and add scene. So what this does is this sets up, this is one scene that we have. So if I was to undo this scene, for instance, say go back to this one is the original. So we could actually just turn this into a shaded one like that. And we can right click on the scene and we can add another scene. And I will save as a new style, create. So this is number 1, looks like this. Number 2 changes it to color. Now we're going to actually change it to be rendered. And we can add another scene. And now we're ready to go to our layers and start turning on the terrain model and the gazebo and the landscape. And then this becomes we'll add another scene. So to do the fly around, we're just going to add maybe another 5 or 6 scenes, so we'll just orbit around so that we can see the house from a different position. Add a scene. Add a scene. Add a scene. Just add a scene. Add a scene. Come back to here and add a scene, and this pretty much ends what we have for adding the scenes. If we want to see from the beginning, we can click on the first scene, we can right click and we can play the animation. So you can see as it goes to each scene, it basically shows us the view and then carries on from there. so I'll just stop that now. We're at scene 1. And what we can do now with this is, if we look at settings, our view animation settings, we can see that the transition is 2 seconds. So from scene 1 to scene 2, it takes 2 seconds, and then it takes 1 second delay, and then it goes on to the next. What I'm going to do is I'm going to increase this to 3, and I'm going to reduce this to 0. So what that will do is that will mean that it will just be a continuous flow. Now when we play it here, it won't show as a continuous flow because it depends on how well your graphics card can handle the change. But basically, it should give you a good idea that it's just going to keep going. Now these haven't moved, so they're just going to appear to sit here. So now we see them moving. So you can see that it's continually moving. Now when we write this to a file, it will be much smoother. And when it's finished, it goes back to the beginning, and then it stops. Okay, so if you have one of your scenes that you'd like it to be a little bit longer in, let's say we wanted to go to, say, number 8. If we wanted to pause here, we could just add a scene, and then it would take 3 seconds here and then carry on. Alright, so once we've done that fly around, we need to save this as an AVI file. So we go into File, and we need to export as an animation. And to export this as an animation, I'm going to look at my options down here. And right now the resolution is set at 320 by 240. 320 by 240 is okay if you have to send this to somebody and they have to see it over the internet. Otherwise, you need to set this as a larger file if you want to show it to the class. So we're going to set this to 800, and it automatically sets it to 600. It's going to do 10 frames a second, and the ratio is going to be 4. That's 4 by 3. Okay, so now you may want to change your screen if you have a wide screen, because 4 by 3 will not get everything inside. So once you've set that up, you just click on OK, and your animation will save, and this could take half an hour or whatever. So I'm not going to do it here, but you just have to save it now and you can view it. You might want to save it as a lower resolution first to look at it, and then change it later on so that you can do that. So thank you, and good luck with your animation.